Individual pictures can be beautiful, but composite pictures often convey your message better. And Yowdi composites let you tell an entire story in a single image. In this video, I'll go into some detail of how easy it is to build a complex, visually appealing composite image using YowdiShop. First, we'll start a new project, but this time, rather than import a JPEG image, we're going to first create a background for our composite image. In this dialog box, we can set the color we want for our background image. For this one, let's pick a nice soft pale of blue. Now, we can also add a texture to this, and there are several that ship with the YowdiShop program. Grunge 5 is a pretty nice one for what I intend to do here, so I'll go ahead and pick that. And there, now we have our background image. Now what I'm going to do here with this is we're going to move into the edit mode, and we're going to use a few tools you haven't seen up till now. We have the graphic tools that we used in the previous example, but there are other things that you can do with graphic elements in objects in YowdiShop. One of which is you can add sub-images, and these sub-images are what we're going to use to make our composite with. So I'll go in and pick a sub-image, for instance this sub-image here. Now we'll do a little image adjustment here. First off, I think it would be better if we maybe perhaps brighten this up a bit. So we'll bring it up even quite like that, and then maybe we'll add just a little bit more contrast to it and make a nicer looking image. And down here on the bottom of this adjustment panel, you'll see that we can also add a border style. That is anything from none through thick or thin, medium, thick, and something I call Polaroid. And we'll pick a Polaroid for this, and you'll see why that works out real nice. So there's what comes in. Just like anything else in Yowdi, you can resize it as to whatever's appropriate for you. You can rotate it around to whatever you'd like it to be, and if you choose, you can reduce its opacity or bring it back up to full. So for this one, I'm going to give it just a little bit more rotation and maybe just a little more size, and we'll stick it about right there. Now I'm going to go ahead and grab another one, and this one is going to be of a young man doing some surfing. This one I'd like to crop though, because it's got a little more background than I really want to carry in. So we'll crop it about something like that. That looks pretty good. We'll also give him a Polaroid background, and we'll bring him over here to this side of the image over here and rotate him the other direction maybe. We might make the young lady here a little larger and maybe move her up a bit. It really doesn't matter. It's very much up to you. Now each one of these things we can do additional things to in our menu. We can go, for instance, over here to the border, and we can select a color for the border. We'd like maybe to get an accent blue that's going to work well with this, and we'll tell it okay, that looks fine. And we'll also at the same time here go in and maybe put a shadow under it, maybe a shadow like something like that. And we'll do the same for this image here. We'll go into the border, and what we intend to do here is we're going to select a color for the border, and we'll just pick the same one we used for that one. And also we'll give this one a shadow, and we'll pick the wide shadow for that as well. Now I think it would be looking better if this picture was in the front myself, so I'm just going to go ahead and I'm going to bring it to the front. There, now that's nice representation. Maybe we'll even add one more sub-image. I got a sunset here. Might be kind of nice to crop this down because it's very busy. So we'll keep the sailboat in and the sun in and maybe a couple of the people in, but crop everything else out. So we'll go ahead and do this crop. And now in order to make this thing a little better, I think there's a feature called Pop It in the adjustment. And what that does is just kind of adjust the contrast and the brightness so that you get a more of a dramatic effect when you select it, and you keep popping it until you get what you want. Anyway, this one I think I'm just going to give a thick border to, not a Polaroid. And we'll move it down here someplace, about like say right here. And I think maybe what we're going to do, well, we'll color its border as well to the same as everything else just to keep consistency. So we'll pick that border color. And for the same way, we'll also give it a shadow as we did before. But I think what I want to do is I'm going to move it to the back of all of these. So we'll send it to the back, and that's the way it'll line in now. So maybe we can move it down just a little bit over this way or something and maybe make it a little better. There. Now, recall in the last video too, we also had these other tools that we could play with, and these are kind of nice because they give you a way to make your text stand out. So on this particular one, what I'm going to do is first off, I'm going to give this a color, and I'll just pick the same colors we have here, but I'm going to also reduce its opacity down so it's not quite as bright as the background on the others. And then I'm going to add a text box here. I'm going to call this, let's call it Adventures in Paradise. How's that? And I think I'll go pick a different font. Maybe, we can look around and see all the fonts. Notice down here at the bottom that Yowdi gives you a number of options, and when you see them, it just depends on how many fonts you have on your system, but when you select them, it gives you a little description of what it looks like down here. Let's try that one, and we'll make it about 60 or so and see, that's way too big. How about we scale that back to something like about 36. Yeah, that'll work. Yeah, maybe even a little larger. Let's try 48 and see how that goes. That might do it. And we'll take that and stick this down here on our little bar that we just made. And sort of center it there, and yeah, there we go. Adventures in Paradise. Now, the other thing we can add, for instance, here would be some text about these kids. That's why I made the Polaroid thing, because then I could take some text and I could make a new text box, and in that text box I could put something like, for the young lady, I could say that isn't she as pretty as a picture, and we'll blow up this text a little bit bigger. And now recall from the other time we had a Yowdi that if you select this, then reselect your text, you can always go here and match to the rotation, and you get a perfect match. And that's a very convenient little feature to have, so that we can put that in there. We can add then another text box here, and for the young man, we can put in, he's shooting the giant curls, and we'll move him down here, and let's match his text to his picture as such, and we'll just put his in there. And there, now we've got that. Maybe one final thing we could put in just for completeness of this is we could put in something like our trip to Maui. How's that? And in there we'll take this, and maybe here we want a little more dramatic. Let's make it sort of like Impact. That's a popular font to use, and we'll close this down a little bit till we get it to look like we'd like it to be, maybe something like that. And let's pick its text color to be the same as these, and we'll move it down here. Let's give it a border or an outline, and if we give this a nice darker outline, and it'll turn out like that, which looks pretty nice. And we'll move it over here to about here. And now one last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to put a menu on here, and you'll see why in the next video why I'm doing this. But I want to add another one of these text boxes, and let's make it we'll rotate it back to 0, and this text box is going to reside back to here, and I'm just going to stick it right on top of here like this. And this is going to become a menu bar for us, and you'll see in just a moment what I'm going to do with that. I'm going to make one more text box and put our menu in it, and this might be a little bit large, so let's reduce that font down to say about a 16 or so, And maybe leave it at an 18. That might be even a little bit too small there. There we go. And we'll take them and put these right about here. So now there becomes a menu for us. So now there's the whole composite of our trip to Maui in one image. And everything looks pretty good. Adventures in Paradise, the menu, and everything's lined up pretty nicely. So we'll just leave it at that. And here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go ahead and save this as a Yowdy. I'll save this as, yes, I do want to render all these composites, remember, or components to a single composite. Remember that Yowdy gives you that option in case you're not happy. But I'm going to then go in here and under my composite, I'm going to save this as composite. And now we have that saved. And what we're going to do now is just end this video, and we'll go about adding content to this in the next one.